Hey, my friends, it's your girl Cassandra coming at you with today's 10-minute takeaways. I hope you guys have been enjoying me coming out every day and giving you a 10-minute snippet. It's kind of like a behind the scenes sneak peek of the conversations and topics that I discuss in my life coaching sessions with my clients day in and day out. If you don't know who I am, I'm Cassandra Bellevue. I'm an author and a certified life coach. And it is my pleasure to help people to get in touch with their identity and their purpose, to figure out what it is, and to do whatever it is that God is calling them to do on this earth. And then a lot of times, once they discover, okay, I'm supposed to be doing XYZ, we can get on a plan to execute that plan. And so I'm excited to come to you every day this month, and we're doing 10-minute takeaways, just a little snippet of some of the topics that we discuss. Now, before I get into it, let me get my housekeeping items out the way. Y'all already know. Go out to CassandraBellevue.com for 3 reasons, okay? The first reason is join our email family. We're going to be sending out encouraging words and things to help keep you uplifted, to keep going day in, day out as you pursue your purpose in this life. The email list is also going to be the first to know when we have openings for life coaching. Right now we have 5. Once those slots are gone, they're gone. And then when we open it back up in the fall, then the folks on the email list will be the first to know. Things like that. We're going to be doing a free webinar also. I'll be announcing all the details of that at the end of the month. So if you're interested in that, get on the email list. You'll be the first to find out and the first to sign up and register for that. And it's absolutely free. Number 2, we have a $5 sale going on in the store at CassandraBellevue.com. Go out there and get yourself a t-shirt, a tank top. It is warm today. I think we had like high 70-degree weather out here in Atlanta. So spring has sprung. So get ready, get yourself a tank top t-shirt, get yourself a visor and a hat to shade yourself from the elements. And then the third thing, which I'm most excited about, is my book set is $15 on the site right now throughout the end of this month. And basically it's my book, Pressed But Not Crushed, and the companion guide put together. So the book and the 30-day devotional that goes with it together. And it's really just a steal of a deal because Pressed But Not Crushed by itself is $17.99, and we're doing both in the set for $15. So grab a set, kick off this month of April with it. Start a book club, start a Bible study, get some for your friends and family, things like that. So as we've been doing these 10-minute takeaways, I've just been hitting a variety of topics. One of the topics, or kind of a little mini series within the 10-minute takeaways that we've been doing, is we've been discussing things that can hinder your purpose, calling, and destiny. So we've talked about being able to hear God's voice, number 1, to know what you're supposed to be doing. Fear. Y'all, I could do a webinar about fear for like five hours. Okay, so we just touched on a tiny bit of fear. We talked about the company that you keep. We've talked about unbelief. And then yesterday we talked about some things being good things, some things being God things. These are things that you're doing, these assignments, these things you're volunteer for, these things you're putting your time towards. What are you doing? Are they helping you get toward your purpose? Or is your time being taken up by things that really are not heading you in the right direction? So just things to think about. We're kind of shifting directions a little bit now. So I think for like the next week or so, we're going to be talking about things not that hinder your purpose, call, and destiny, but things that can catapult you, like accelerate you into your calling. And so the first topic that we're talking about is what I'm calling divine connections. Now, one of the things that's been fascinating, and I know I've experienced in my own personal life, and I have seen that several of my clients have experienced as well, is this thing called divine connections. Like, there's this sweet spot when you like hear the calling of the Lord. He gives you a task, he gives you an assignment, and you're like, yes, Lord, I'm on board. Let's do it. And you start taking the little steps that he asks you to take. He begins to start blessing you with all kinds of things. You know, I'm not going to get into all of them right now. But one of the things that I've noticed that he can bless you with in those seasons where you're just like, here I am, Lord, like, I'm willing to do this. I'm walking this thing out to the best of my abilities. Because let's face it, a lot of times the things that he'll tell you to do or ask you to do, or the direction he'll tell you you're going to, you'll be like, wait, what? We kind of talked about Gideon earlier in this week, where God was like, yeah, I'm going to use you to deliver Israel. And he was like, what? My clan is the least of all of the clans of Israel. And then me, amongst my clan, like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. You really want to use me? And so a lot of times God knows that what he's calling us to do is beyond anything that we could accomplish on our own. That's why I always say he calls us to partner with him. And one of the things that I'll notice is he'll send people into our lives that I'm calling divine connections. One of my favorite testimonies is of a young lady who I know who had this goal to work for a particular entity, right? And she used to talk about it all the time. We used to pray about it all the time. And she was just like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to go after. She had coworkers that would make fun of her all the time and be like, girl, come on. Everybody's trying to get over there and work over there. Like, what do you mean you're trying to get out? And some of them like flat out ridiculed her. But we would pray about it all the time. And, you know, we just went to war in the spiritual realm about this thing, right? And then one day, somebody that she knows happened to be having dinner with somebody who was married to someone who worked at this entity. Next thing you know, so this person, this mutual friend, is like, hey, I have a friend who's been trying to get in there for a while. And they're like, really? Tell her to send her the information over and I'll send it over to my spouse. Next thing you know, like no joke, by the end of this week, this girl was working at that company. And so there are things that God may call us to do that are so daunting. It seems so daunting at times. But he has a plan to get us to where he wants us to go. And sometimes that's through a divine connection. You know, one of the biblical examples that I think of is, you know, the story of David. And so how the prophet was told to go to David's house, his father's house. And the prophet knew that God was telling him, one of the sons of this man is going to be the next king of Israel. And so the prophet goes, the dad lines up all the sons, and the prophet's looking at each one of them, and he's like, you know, waiting for God to tell him, like, which one is it, you know? And he's like, it's not anybody among us. Like, and so now he's confused. The prophet's like, I know this is what God told me, like, to come to this house, that this man, Jesse, one of his sons, you know? So the prophet asked Jesse, do you have any other sons? And Jesse's like, well, yeah, we got the David. I mean, he's out there. He's a little shepherd boy. Like, why you want to talk to him? And so they eventually bring David out. The prophet looks at David and is like, boom, this is it. This is the guy who's going to be the king of Israel. Okay? And so to me, that prophet was a divine connection that God said, a powerful divine connection, because he was sent to anoint him as king. Now, David may have known at that point that he had a very big calling on his life, high calling. Who knows? Maybe God even told him. I mean, we don't have that written in scripture anywhere. But the bottom line is, even if David knew, could you imagine what he was thinking? Like, how in the world am I supposed to get there? Like, how in the world is that supposed to happen? But God sent a divine connection. And so, you know, we want to be very aware of what's going on around us. When God has given us an assignment, given us a calling, given us something to do, we want to be partnering with him by being obedient and taking the steps that he's telling us to take. But we also want to be really, really, really just in tune and aware of what's happening around us and things like that. I just know way too many people who have these stories of, hey, God told me to do blah, blah, blah. And I was like, how am I going to do that? And the next thing you know, they meet somebody, or they happen to be at the right place at the right time to meet a divine connection that's able to connect them to the next place. You know what I mean? So that should be encouraging to anybody who God has given you a goal, something big, and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to get there. Like, it doesn't make sense. He's probably got a divine connections waiting for you that he's going to set you up with. So be encouraged, stay in his plan, and watch him do what he does best. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that was encouraging to you. And I just want to remind you guys that for the month of March, we're doing a promo where both of my tracks, life coaching tracks, are being combined. We're doing the mindset and the execution track. So please go out to my Linktree /Cassandra Bellevue. Book a free 15-minute appointment with me. let's get the conversation started, and let's see which track is best for you, or maybe if both of them are for you. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow on the next 10-minute takeaway.